Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of Impeccable Wisdom. Let's discuss about three Nadis which are major subtle channels of energy. Ida Nadi, Pingala Nadi and Sushumna Nadi. Let me to start with tell you that there are 72,000 Nadis are channels in the human body and which are important, and out of these the outer I will talk about Ida Nadi, Pingala Nadi and Sushumna Nadi. Other Nadi names have been given. You can read at leisure when you want to. But there is internal aspects also that you see. Sushumna Nadi is further divided into Vani Nadi, Surya Nadi, Chandra Nadi and Brahma Nadi, which is Satchakra Nirupana talking about. And now we are going to see how exactly they look like, and this picture is of people leaf or ficus religiosa. The whole structure is like that. That is something which I have experienced very clearly. The length and breadth is also in Divyank ratio. Now Ida Nadi and Pingala Nadi, left and right, we are going to discuss about that. But look at this particular picture. You can see very clearly Ida and Pingala Nadis are seen in the middle and Sushumna is right at the center. These three are the only important. Sushumna I will talk as we go, but Ida and Pingala are the left and right, which are like a reptilian brain, are serpent powers as such. Now let's discuss about what Satchakra Nirupana talks about. It talks about Meru mountain, which is the vertebral column, and placed on either side you have two channels. One is called Sashi, Ida or lunar channel, another Mihir, Pingala or solar channel. These are two. One is cold, one is warm, and Satchakra, many people talk about is the connection with the left nostril and the right nostril. And let me not go into detail. But let me make one thing very clear. Both these nadis have a connection at the bottom with ganglion impar, where the left paravertebral chain of 22 ganglion, right of 22 paravertebral ganglia meet together at the bottom and produce Muladhara chakra or ganglion impar. There are 45 ganglia which are responsible for these two chains as such, and the union at that is Muladhara. So left and the right go like this. Now the structure which I am showing right at the vertebral column in the center, which has all the 10 chakras, you can see. The left and right are the two chains which I make it very clear. They are the left sympathetic chain and the right sympathetic chain. Each one has got 24 ganglion, you can see, and right at the bottom they merge together in ganglion. But on top you can see from head to the soles, sympathetic system, Ida and Pingala are throughout the human body. They go along the blood vessels right from top of the head to the sole, and they connect the whole thing at the external. That is something which I am making it very clear. It is not the left nostril or right nostril, which many books talk about it. But since sympathetic, entire body along with the blood vessel is controlled by this. They are controlling all the 100 trillion cells of the body, all the neuron cells, everything. So they make the thing. That's why they are very fast, and Kundalini works through this to really rise. And when Kundalini is rising, there is a need for it. There is always a sympathetic overactivity, that all the people who are getting excited, are stimulated, are rising. They need extra energy that is mobilized by sympathetic system, and sympathetic system works through Ida and Pingala nadis only, and that's why they are the most powerful. They can do wonders, and overexcitement could be dangerous. Under excitement is value, but optimum utilization of sympathetic system can make you intelligent, intuitive and otherwise. And person who can control the sympathetic system along by parasympathetic system has the energy little more than required, but which is not producing the kind of difficulties at all, and the whole body is perfect. Only a perfectly healthy person, emotionally stable, mentally powerful, can be intelligent, intuitive, other thing. They can lead the perfect human life. So in other words, Kundalini rising, other thing is all associated with the sympathetic system, Ida, Pingala, by and large. Only that person can rise to higher and higher levels, which I am going to discuss as we move on. So this is something which has to be understood by everybody. Ida and Pingala are outside the Sushumna Nadi. They control the sympathetic system and all the blood vessels, including blood pressure, everything. And person who can maintain that equilibrium can be in samadhi state and do wonderfully very well. Now this is a structure you can see at the vertebral column, right? And you have one Granthi right at the bottom called Brahma Granthi. When this is broken, Kundalini from Muladhara chakra can get into Brahma Nadi within and start rising. This is the first thing which I've experienced in 1993 after learning the art of Yogasana, Pranayam, meditation, Tratkam, otherwise. When you are conscientiously working within the body, you can experience Muladhara chakra, Brahmanadi, break it, get into Brahmanadi and experience the internal consciousness. That is Patanjali Yoga, so Ashtanga Yoga is converted to Dasang only after Kundalini gets into Brahma Granthi, into Brahmanadi and come to the ventricles of the brain. And that is the minimum things required to realize the self completely. Then I will tell you also there are two more Granthis or blocks. Vishnu Granthi is in the Anhata level at the chest level and Rudra Granthi is at Ajna Chakra. These are the two blocks which are important, which are going to see it, and I have experienced the Rudra Granthi being opened at the time of initiation when Maharishi Vatatri brought my consciousness from Manipura Chakra to Rudra Granthi, and I think that was the interesting point, bringing it close, and from there to go to the higher level was Tirotratkam or going to Brahmanadi and going beyond to Akash Kosh was thereafter step by step. Whereas Vishnu Granthi can be improvised with Mantra Vidya alone. First thing is Yogasana, second is Mantra Vidya. Rudra Granthi improves thereafter only with intellectual knowledge. Let me make it very clear. Karma Yoga is with Brahma Granthi, Bhakti Yoga is with Vishnu Granthi, Gyan, Vigyan, Pragyan, Akhandata with Rudra Granthis only. These are the things which make you a common man, monkey consciousness, fluctuating, fleeting, and giving all the problems to the one who has Nirankar, Nirgun, Granthi or Brahman, which can be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. And that has to go through Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Vigyan Yoga, Pragyan Yoga, Akhandata, and completely with the wisdom that education can lead to enlightenment. Other thing, you are going to see the result in the last as IQ of 1000 itself. Now come to the Sushumna. Ida and Pingala, we have understood there are sympathetic chains left and right, and that is decided on 45 by 28 is a Divyank. Now Rudra Granthi is the vertebral column right in the middle, you can see in this picture. That is channel of spiritual evolution. That's where the 10 chakras are located, not 6, not 7. 6 are the one which Satchakra Nirupana talks about it, are the one which are connected with reptilian brain, right from Mooladhara to Ajna Chakra. But unfortunately, it's only 6. Manipura is not mentioned. But going beyond to 10, which I have experienced, are connected with Sushumna Nadi, and more realization by understanding the autonomic nervous system. That's what I said. Auto realization is connected with autonomic nervous system, which is centered part or awareness within the body. Whereas sensory system can give you the big information from outside, motor otherwise. But internalization is autonomic only. Now I am going to talk about what Sushumna talks about. Sushumna Nadi. It talks about the central Sushumna Nadi has three gunas and the form of sun, moon and fire. Sun is Pingala, moon is Ida and fire is the center one with energy which is goes up. Nadi is laden with Datura flowers, that is mean I told you chakras are like Datura in Divyank and they extend from perineum right up to the head. Is very clear, and they do not have 7 chakras, you have 10 chakras and the 100 actually there are 108 chakras. 10.344 multiplied by 10.344 equivalent to 100, which I am going to talk about it when we talk of the kleshas. But anyway, 10 is enough within the human body. 0.344 takes us beyond to the Turiya stage further. But Sushumna means the vertebral column of 22 bones in the head and the face, which I have already shown, is very interesting, and that's what I'm trying to correlate ancient Indian wisdom in the light of perfect human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology, particularly neuroanatomy also you can see. And this is one by one. Somebody has to see all my videos only then have a complete picture. Now to come to the question of Sushumna Nadi, this is the outer shield, and there are other nadis within that which Satchakra Nirupana is talking about. I am surprised that Satchakra Nirupana is talking about Vani Nadi, which I equate with subdural space, which has whole fluid state or CSF flowing through. Then within that is the Surya Nadi, which is again white matter ascending and descending both. That is sensory component and motor component going up and going down. The back portions are the chakras which are sensory in nature, front are this. Then you have a Chandran Nadi, where is this autonomic nervous system primarily concerned. You have a part of the brain stem, you have a part of the spinal cord, and this is where consciousness takes place, and that makes it much more interesting. But within that you have a Brahma Nadi, a central canal through which CS flows, and that is the Nadi which is the one in which a Kundalini has to go in. Once Kundalini from Mooladhara breaks a Rudra Brahma Granthi and gets into Brahma Nadi and rises to the ventricles of the brain, that person experiences the 10 stages of Akhand Yoga. Ashtang Yoga of Patanjali, 8 steps are common. Chakras which I talked about, Sushumna Nadi is outside 10 chakras. Then internalization of the Kundalini within the ventricle canal and moving to that Antar Yoga is the 10th stage. Only that person would find integration within the physical body completely. So this is where internalization takes place, whereas Ida and Pingala are externalized, but connection from inside. Sushumna, this is internalized. Both when internalized and externalized together work together, only then you become a yogi. Then you are in par with Akash Kosh and you can do wonderfully well. Till such time the yoga has no meaning at all. A yogi should be a Brahman who is in tune with Nirankar, Nirgun Brahman, Asakar, Sargun Brahman or Anubhav Brahman of the entire universal consciousness. That person would have an EEG of 8 Hz alpha frequency with eyes open throughout the 64 parts of the brain, our entire brain, and that's it. And I am glad that I am the first person as on it, and I am sure over a period people follow my full stuff would prove that everybody can be with 8 Hz and be in tune with Akash Kosh. But having done that, I am integrating knowledge for the sake of the world. Now come to the question, when Kundalini gets into Brahma Nadi and energy moves from sexual center of Swadhisthana Chakra into the subdural space and goes up. That's a time when Ojas, which is testosterone, gets converted into Tejas or estradiol, and that becomes intelligence by and large. No wonder a perfect sexual energy of testosterone and conversion of testosterone through aromatization to estrogen is the one which brings the person intelligent and takes it to higher and higher levels. And people who have abundance of testosterone and convert into estrogen in the brain are super intelligent, or they become the genius by and large. They can do wonders which others cannot do, who do not have abundant of ojas, cannot have abundant of tejas. So that way brahmacharya as of celibacy control does not mean you have to be vibrant, but you should not waste it. That's a question which I talk about from Akhand Yoga. Now the same association I'm showing in the vertebral column. You have this vertebral column, then you have the spinal cord, vertebral column which is Sushumna Nadi, subdural space is CSF, you can see the structures. Then within that is white matter, is grey matter and white matter, grey matter. Backside portion is the sensory, motor front, but internal is autonomic nervous system which is the grey matter, and within that you can see ventral canal, and Kundalini after breaking Brahma Granthi gets into that, rises, as you can see in the picture, it goes to ventricles of the brain. When it goes to the ventricle brain, he experienced the third eye of Shiva there. When you can see, most of us see only two dimension, length and breadth. Seeing third dimension with the eyes is very difficult. But one Kundalini moves into ventricle of the brain, you can see 10 dimensions simultaneously within the eyes, and you can see the entire world within the brain itself. And that is what Kundalini gives you, the awareness, the universal consciousness within the physical body. Such a person will be healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. There is nothing beyond his reach. He has all the siddhis of the power, but within the rules of perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology. Once this is understood, I think you can move on to much higher level with Kundalini awakening, Kundalini ascension, entry into the ventricles, and then from there using the energy to go to Turiya and using the higher energies to see the entire universe. That person is supposed to be a Brahman who can be in tune with Nirankar, Nirgun Brahman, Sakar, Sargun Brahman. All what is Ved and Upanishad talks about it in Sanskrit can be understood by that person. He can explain the same thing in mathematical and geometrical structure thereafter. Now, as I told you, the center part, Sushumna Nadi, highest center is connected with pituitary, hypothalamus and insular autonomic center. The integration of the central autonomic nervous system right from Muladhara chakra to that, and also from soles right up to head. Once the whole thing is together, only then the person is totally integrated. In that the person goes from Muladhara chakra to Sahasrara chakra, and Sahasrara chakra has the power of 1000, where Muladhara has 4. And this is 1000 person who has experienced that within the body is a person who has an IQ of 1000, and that's what I'm talking about. And people who have consciously shown a spiritual evolution, the one have a better IQ, and I'm going to give you 2 examples today. Now chakras I have told you, but bringing it together, Ida Nadi is a counterclockwise movement of chakras that reduces energy, and that's why it is cooler, only a reflection. And right clockwise movement increases the energy, that is with the Pingala Nadi, and both involution and evolution put together go alternatively. This is where I am singing all the movement from left nostril to the right nostril and right nostril to left nostril, each is 45 minutes per 45 minutes of 1.5 hours. That's why all Rahu column is for 1.5 hours. That is, everything is defined, and that 8 chakra is in 12 hours and 8 chakras at night is a beautiful thing. And once you experience that within the body and you can control the movement of breath, pranava with Om, you can do very well. The only mantra which I talk about is, which happens automatically all the time, is Hamsa, Soham, Hamsa, that's a breath sound, that's the pranava, pran vayu mantra, that is Om. A, U, M, Turiya. Once that is experienced as given in Mandukya Upanishad, and you understand Ida and Pingala and Sushumna and 10 chakras, and within that, I think you can become one with universal consciousness, and that's my point. Now, as I told you, 6 chakras, Sat Chakra and Nirupana talks of only 6 chakras, and then 6 goddesses I have already explained. And this is what given in Serpent Pav, and it's a beautiful book, and I find this a reference perfectly well done translation of Sanskrit into English by Sir John Woodrow. And I make it very clear 6 chakras are connected with the reptilian brain right in the middle, and both sympathetic, parasympathetic are connected. You can see here again there are 3 sacral part, 14 sympathetic and 4 cranial parasympathetic. That is again 21. Once comes that when Kundalini goes into the ventricle is a 20 step which gives you relief. You can see the 22 by 21 in this picture also very clearly. That's why the whole divine mathematics of Divyank 22 by 21, this is the first creation of spiritual energy itself. No wonder Satchakra Nirupana talks about this as a beginning sprouting of that. That means sprouting also can happen only when 21 become 22. Same wisdom is given in Upanishads, same wisdom in many other books to show the first stage of creation is 22 by 21 only. I have given many examples, and unless that you see the whole picture together in your brain, only then you rise to the higher level. You can see the beauty of things only with Gyan, knowledge, impeccable wisdom, not with ignorance. Now, this is internalization which I have experienced in 1995, and this is where I have seen the whole thing my own self. 91, I found Muladhara to Ajna Chakra, the opening of Rudra Granthi as such, and thereafter to next stage to Turiya took it to the outside to 22 level. Now, this is the picture of intelligence which I am talking about. Divyank is the first divine design of nature, which at 22 by 21 is Brahma at the first stage of creation, 10 stages of development, and then 0.3 at the third stages. And that is what whole nature revolves around. This is the only number which is the perfect, and this is symbolic representation. As I have shown, IQ of 1000 is scientific, probable or not probable. I am showing again in this particular thing to show that how it is possible, why it is possible. In this particular picture is a review of literature which is beyond what I have seen. Initially I said people have IQ less than 300, and I have somebody told that I could have 700, but I said I have 1000, and I have shown that earlier. But here I am bringing 2 people who believe that their divine consciousness is spiritual from a scientist point of view. I am now bringing a scientist who talked of the universal consciousness as such. One person I respect great is a Nobel laureate Albert Einstein, who said more and more he has studied the universe nature, more and more he understands the divine consciousness. He has even called the light of sun as one of the reflections of divinity itself. And according to records, and I am quoting, it is not mine because I have not seen it, they said he had an IQ of 160, very precise 160, and he was considered as such. But according to records in Google, Nicholas Tesla, whom I consider to be another great spiritual scientist, Albert is one great scientist, greatest scientist, and wonderful in every way, no doubt. Second person, who was Nicholas Tesla, he is supposed to have an IQ, but he comes after Albert Einstein, and he had a fluctuating thing from 180 to 320. This also shows that you can improve the IQ knowledge as you do more and more. And I'm sure if Albert Einstein had worked on that which he took 160 and gone on to same record after awareness of the memory, he would have also come to 320 by and large. I have no doubt, because he was in tune with universal consciousness. He knew there's a higher consciousness, gives you the knowledge as you move on. Nicholas did it, and I respect Nicholas for one statement he made. 3, 6 and 9 are the 3 numbers which are divine numbers. Very precise. I have explained that in my thing, why 3, 6, 9 are important, why they are unique, and I have So his 320 I can totally understand. All other people I do not see worth considering as far as spiritual science is concerned. They are nothing. Einstein has done wonderfully well, recorded the greatest scientist. Nicholas' work on electricity and other thing is phenomenal. These two people stand out in the light of mathematics, physics, chemistry and sciences for the world as a whole thing. These two are the greatest spiritual scientists. I call them genius outright without any doubt. But the second thing makes it that IQ tests are not correct, and I told you the beginning itself. It is based on mathematics and patterns. Anyone who can see the pattern can high score. And from that I had myself scored more than 180 in 1969 for the first time without knowing any idea. But I did not consider it worthy because I was good into that. I didn't work it and I never worked it out, and I don't feel the need for it. Now my IQ may be 1000, and I say I am not tested because there is no mechanism. But I make it clear because I am in tune with Brahman. I am giving the world a spiritual science of the kind which has never done in the history of mankind. That should be more than enough proof to prove that this is possible. When all the things which I have shown have not been cleared by anyone, first person in the history of mankind talking of divine mathematics in DIVYANK, that symbol, and also the EEG and other things to it. And over a period I have learnt, unless until you learn and master all the 64 arts and sciences in the lifetime, only then you reach a level of universal consciousness, otherwise not possible. With one subject alone, you cannot be in tune with 1000. That's it. And now in the 2 slides I am going to show you why I differ from other people by and large. This is the first thing which connected the PhD work with eyes closed. In Mooladhara Chakra, where concentration is in the brain and above the brain to Turiya stage, you can see the power is 3 times more the power of other people by and large. That shows sympathetic system gives you the power, energy is extra, and you can see check with the electronic microscope with EEG alone. I think this was the starting point with eyes closed. That was only thing, that power is 3 times more than the other people by and large of the same group. What stands out is amazing difference with open the eyes. You can see the power in Samadhi, which is more than 6 million, which is more than 3 times the other people. But what stands out, alpha and total power is more in Samadhi, and that's it. Whereas other people cannot produce alpha, they can produce power but not alpha. Alpha is not produced from the brain, only beta and total. And that is the difference which made my PhD work unique and considered highly commendable by everyone throughout the world. And I think that was the unique part in 2001 itself. Subsequently, I went on doing more and more work. But once a DIVYANK was seen in 2015 and I started seeing more concentration within that, then I continued my EEG every 6 months. And these pictures are taken in 2018. With the closed eyes, there is 8.5 Hertz alpha frequency throughout the brain, recorded for the first time in all the parts of the brain. I think that was amazing. But remember, it is 8.5 alpha frequency throughout the brain with eyes closed. When it goes to the next with open the eyes, from 8 Hertz it becomes 8 Hertz alpha frequency throughout the brain with a beautiful alpha spindle. Power is uniform and the consistency is lovely. I think that made the difference. This is what is required. No wonder since I am getting into that, I could do the work of DIVYANK and all the bring DIVYANK ratio, DIVYANK sequence, everything, where I have gone beyond all the scientists of the world, all the mathematicians of the world, all the physics, chemistry, medical science, everything. That's the unique thing which stands out is only because 8 Hertz alpha frequency through brain 64 is in tune with Akash Kosh, which is the frequency 7.83. 7.83, 8.7 is so close, and all the records of the universal consciousness are there in Akash Kosh, and you can tap from there. This is a better internet than the Google or anything on the earth. All the thing, AI, everything is revolving on man mode concept. Once you leave that man mode concept, let it choose out, let AI choose, which is the perfect from A to Z. The day is recognized as Divyank, I think the entire world would have an education which is uniform for each and every one. I think that's the day I am looking forward to. Now, taken to this picture, you can see Ida, Pingala and Sushumna with all the chakras as such. I have already explained. I think that should be enough. I think, thank you very much. It's been lovely sharing my experiences with divine mathematics.